Welcome back, everybody. As we know, a lot of our friends and family here on the First Coast are still working to recover from Hurricane Irma. And as people are in the midst of cleaning up, some are wondering, what can we do to be more prepared should a storm strike again?
And joining us now is Chris Salome with We Insure Group. He is joining us now to talk about some of the common questions that people have about the storms and what have you, starting with flood insurance. And this is a big one for people, especially in Jacksonville, as the whole nation saw that Jacksonville floods when the river came up and the high tides and everything. So is flood insurance covered by a homeowner's policy?
Yeah, I really appreciate you asking that. That's a pretty common question, and we fielded a lot of calls about that. Flood insurance is a separate policy, and it's always a difficult conversation after the storm when an insured may call and say, hey, did I buy flood insurance on my homeowner's policy, and it's something completely separate. So flood insurance is the majority of the time determined by the NFIP. That's the majority of the flood programs in our country, and serves as a separate policy, completely different from the homeowner's policy.
So let's talk about what is flood insurance.
Yep, flood insurance essentially covers your home and your belongings in the event of rising waters from tidal or inland river streams. In the event your roof blows off and it's raining inside of your home, that's something completely different.
That doesn't cover, because that's the
right.
that's the big question everybody has. What does it cover? Is it caused by wind? Is it caused by water? That's, I think, sometimes why people get so confused, and then they call you and they go, isn't it just part of my policy?
Right, and it is. It has to be coming from underneath an overflow. Yeah, if you don't have a roof on your home and you're getting dumped on, that's the homeowner's policy, and those are common misconceptions.
But is flood only outside water, or is it inside water? My
outside.
Water main broke, and now my house is flooded.
Yeah,
that's different.
Yeah, tidal and inland, definitely.
Gotcha.
That's a very good question.
Well, that's why it's so important to talk to someone like you who can answer those questions.
Yeah, having dealt with both, Okay, so how does the deductible work, and what's a typical deductible for somebody? Can you even say there's a typical deductible?
Yeah, this was a big one, especially right after Irma. We fielded a lot of calls of, what is my hurricane deductible on my homeowner's policy? And the typical deductible is 2%. So essentially, if you have a $250,000 home and that's your insurance policy, you have a $5,000 hurricane deductible. And if you don't take the time to review your coverages every year with your agent, that can come as a huge surprise. But there's a few other things that you can do to companies are starting to finance a deductible, or there's other products now who would cover the deductible in the event of a storm. So I would recommend to everyone to call their agent, discuss some of those options as well.
So when you're looking at your different levels of insurance, do you have options that you can get 50%, 100%? Like, how do you approach how much coverage you should be purchasing for your home, because you're saying deductibles are now based on that percentage?
Right. Well, what we call in our world, it's replacement costs. So we want to insure 100% of what it would take for the insurance company or you to rebuild your home. And this is something completely independent from the appraised value or the market value of the home. So we look at it, and we have estimators. It's called the replacement cost estimator. And we actually run those algorithms, and every company that we can write with usually has one installed on their website to say, hey, how much is it going to take us to not only, if this home were to blow over, we need to remove the debris, and rebuild the property. What is that value? And it's, again,
so
a completely
total
different
loss. Yeah, total loss, plus all the other things that go into, like the debris removal that you wouldn't even think about.
Absolutely.
What does this do to our rates? Because people think driver's insurance, you get into an accident, you're always going through the... Does being involved in a storm, obviously you have no control over that, does that cause your rates to go up, either flood or homeowner's insurance?
So the insurance carriers and insurers, everybody experienced something a little different depending on where their risk was in Florida. It's a little early to tell what's going to happen. There's definitely going to be some shakeup in the marketplace, but what I would say is, as your homeowner's policy comes up for renewal, it's important to just call your agent and review your options. It's still a little early to tell.
I think with each storm, people get better educated. I really think you probably get a lot more in-depth questions with each storm.
Absolutely, and I think that's important. Sometimes, obviously, we would never wish a storm, but when they do come through in the unfortunate circumstance, everybody just gains a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more awareness.
Okay, ask me anything about generators, I can tell you.
I
now.
bet.
I've done
I
my
might have a
homework
couple
now.
questions.
There you go. Who knew? A wealth of knowledge. Good to see you, Chris. Thanks for being here.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. For more information, you can visit weinsuregroup.com. Also, their number is 904-288-8978. All the information is right there on your screen.